Hello boys, welcome back to another session of video tutorials, and this is for class 11th biology students, and we are continuing with chapter 4 Animal Kingdom. If you recollect from the last week videos, we were discussing about various bases on which we classify the animals. Try to remember that we have taken 6 bases. The first one, we talked about body symmetry. Based on that, asymmetrical animals, symmetrical animals, in that symmetrical, bilateral symmetrical animals, and radial symmetrical animals. And second, we talked about embryonic organization. Depending upon the number of layers, we said monoblastic, diploblastic, triploblastic animals. And then we talked about body cavity, that is coelom. Some animals will have body cavity, we call them coelomates, and some animals are having no coelom at all, we say acoelomates, like you are seeing in this acoelomate, no body cavity. Mesenchyme fills the space in the body wall. Example, Platyhelminthes. And some animals, it appears as though there is body cavity, coelom, but in reality there won't be any coelom. That's because of mesoderm forming small pouch-like structures, hence pseudocoelomates. And then we talked about segmentation, that is body getting divided into small parts, okay, and each part is called segment. Sometimes the segmentation is penetrating down inside, and sometimes it is only external. So if there is segmentation, we say the process of entire animal body having segments, we call it metamerization. So another important thing that we discussed last time was the presence and absence of notochord. Notochord, which is going to become future backbone, is mesodermally derived. It is a rod-like structure formed on the dorsal side during embryonic development in some animals. So animals having notochord are called chordates. Animals having notochord are called chordates. Look at that, number 10, phylum Chordata. Example, our own, we are all chordates, humans, and those animals which do not have this structure, this rod-like structure on the dorsal side, we call it non-chordates. So we discuss in this the classification of non-chordates. So the entire non-chordates are divided into different phyla, and in that the first phyla is phylum Porifera. You can remember this as sponge family. Sponges, we use them in sofa sets and seats. You must have seen in trains and buses, okay, the sponges. So you may think that it's a plant. No, it's an animal. Sponge is an animal. So Porifera. Example we can think of is cycon and freshwater sponge. We call it Spongilla, and bath sponge, Euspongia. So you can remember these 3 examples. So these are, where do you find them? These are marine. You find them in sea. And then these are asymmetrical. There is no symmetry. So when we cut this, we can't get equal parts in any angle. And primitively multicellular with cellular level organization. That's why we are making all these under first phylum. Among non-chordates, these are most primitive because their cellular level organization. Tissues have not been yet formed. And what is so important in this is water transportation system will be present, what we call canal system. Sponges have canal system, and even though they have got loosely arranged cells, they don't form any definite layers. Hence, we say they are not truly diploblastic. They seem to be layers, but since it is cellular organization, hence we say not truly diploblastic. And the sponges have spongocele. Let's see in this next. You can see here the centrally organized one. This is spongocele, this entire ring. And on the top you can see osculum, mouth-like structure, osculum. And outside periphery, if you see, there will be some thorn, ostia, teeth-like structures will be there for self-protection. They're called ostia. And this entire canal system, you can see here, right from here down, this canal system. Water enters through ostia. You can see here various small pipelines are there, ostia. And these are minute pores in the body wall and open up into spongocele. So through ostia, water comes this way and enters into spongocele, from where it goes out through osculum. Once the water enters here, then it goes through the mouth-like or aperture. We say operculum, osculum. It goes out through osculum. Digestion is intracellular. Within the cell, digestion takes place. There is no definite digestive system. Remember, it is only cellular level. Systems are not yet formed. When tissue is not there, where is the question of systems? And the skeleton is having calcareous spicules. You can see here this thorn-like one, spiny structures. These are calcareous spicules. Sometimes they may be siliceous, silica, sand, sand particles, siliceous particles. And sometimes it is fibers, simply fibers, sponge fibers. And in some animals, we can expect that both will be there. That is, calcareous spicules will be there as well as spongian fibers will be there. And we can see further, look at that, this icon, and it is marine animal. You can see the osculum there, very clear osculum, and you can see the exoskeleton with spicules, siliceous spicules. So this is osculum, okay, and these are the spicules. Look at that, these are the spicules. So the exoskeleton is full of calcium. And then we can see, let me come back, we can see some structures here where it shows that sexes are not separate, means they are hermaphrodites. What is hermaphrodite? An animal having both the sexes in the same body. So hermaphrodite is an animal that has got both the sexes within the body. Sponges reproduce both asexually as well as sexually. Asexually by budding, buds will be formed. Okay? And sometimes some special structures called gemmules also will be formed, through which the reproduction takes place. And sexually it forms gametes. This is the evolutionary trend, evolutionary character of sponges, one of the best evolutionary characters, that is formation of gametes. And fertilization is internal. Why internal? Because it is hermaphrodite. And development is indirect. What do you mean by development is indirect? Direct means there should be a straight formation of zygote and embryo. Here there will be what is called a larval stage. The larva will develop into an adult. Hence we say development is indirect. So this morphologically, this larvae will be morphologically different from the adult. Hence we say phylum Porifera is at cellular level. It is not truly diploblastic. It has got two structures which are very, very important. One is osculum, another is spongocele. And two important features you must remember in this is presence of water canal system and formation of gamete, sexual reproduction. These are the best features in this phylum. Now let's move on to the second phylum. In this phylum, Coelenterata. Coelenterata is the old name, and Cnidaria, C is silent, okay? Cnidaria is the new name. It's aquatic, means water living, mostly marine, and sessile or free swimming, and most important is radially symmetrical animals, most of them. Of course, you know, Hydra is there, and that is bilateral symmetry. So what is important, what is significant of this phylum Coelenterata? It is tissue level organization. Remember the previous one, Porifera is cellular level organization. Now there is an improvement, tissue level organization. Coelenterata is tissue level organization. And there we said not definitely diploblastic. Here definitely diploblastic means two layers will be there, ectoderm and endoderm will be there. Body and tentacles have peculiar stinging cells called nidoblasts. Nidoblasts, let us see that nidoblasts here. Where do you find this? At the tip of this tentacles here. In this there will be nidoblasts. So let us write this C N I nidoblasts. Nidoblast. What are these nidoblasts? These are cells with poison. Sometimes they are also called nematoblasts. Nematoblasts, nidoblasts are nematoblasts, and they have poison. And they having poison, these nidoblasts help in 4 ways. Adhesion first. That means when Hydra wants to attach to some substratum, it just takes a reverse position, like head down and legs up, like that. Adhesion, Shirshasana it will do, and with the help of tentacles, with the help of nidoblasts, it stings to the substratum, attaches to the substratum. Second, food capture. It captures small insects which are in the water with the help of tentacles. And these tentacles having nidoblasts, they sting the insect and eat off. And then third, it is for offense, because it fights with its enemies with the nidoblasts, inject them and poison them. And of course, defense. It is for self-defense also. So nidoblasts are performing 4 functions: adhesion, food capture, offense, and self-defense. And you can see centrally, when we vertically cut this animal, gastrovascular cavity. Look at that, gastrovascular set. Almost it is like a stomach. And this is also called coelenteron. That's why the name Coelenterata, with a single opening mouth. Here you can see this opening mouth here, and there is presence of incomplete digestive tract. There is a sign that in future digestive tract is going to form. Both intra and extracellular digestion is present. What about in Porifera? Only intra. Now extracellular. This is the improvement. Extracellular digestion takes place in Coelenterata. And colonial forms show 2 main types of individuals, or zooids. 2 types of individuals we can see. And one is polyp, another is medusa. So the cnidarians or coelenterians, which exist in both the forms, exhibit metagenesis. This is very important. Please note down metagenesis. An animal exhibiting 2 forms, one polyp form, one medusa form. Polyps are attached forms, and they produce medusa. Medusa is a free swimming form. Remember, polyp is a attached form. Medusa is a free swimming form. And the polyps produce medusa asexually, whereas medusa form the polyps sexually. Example, Obelia. Look at this, Physalia example. And you must remember, for your UPSC exams, the common name is Portuguese man of war. Physalia is called Portuguese man of war. Similarly, sea anemone, you are seeing here, sea anemone. Sea anemone is, this is Adamsia. Adamsia is called sea anemone. And then sea pen, look at this, sea pen. This is Pennatula. Pennatula is called C. pen. Pennatula is called C. fan and C. fan. And Adamassia is called C. anemone. And most frequently asked question, Portuguese man of war is Physalia. So when we compare both the phyla, phylum Porifera and Coelenterata, what are the developed characters or evolutionary trend that it is showing? So one is the Porifera is a cellular level organization, Coelenterata is a tissue level organization. Porifera is not definitely diploblastic, but Coelenterata is definitely diploblastic. And then there is a sign of development of gastrovascular cavity. Coelentron is getting formed in Coelenterata. And then there is very good character called metagenesis, polyp and medusa. So keep all this in your mind and try to compare one phylum with the other phylum by tabulating it. Let me see you in the next session. Thank you.